Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to have you on the programme. We now move on once again, where the United States has opened an investigation into Brazil's trade practices, accusing it of unfair barriers that hurt American companies. Under Section 301, the US Trade Representative will now look into digital trade restrictions, preferential tariffs, intellectual property protection, ethanol access, and illegal deforestation. Trade Ambassador Jameson Greer claims Brazil is targeting US tech firms for not censoring political content. The move comes after President Trump warned Brazil's President Lula over charges against Jair Bolsonaro. Despite this, the US has run a trade surplus with Brazil for over 18 years. Retaliatory tariffs could follow if issues aren't resolved. We're now joined by Rabinder Sachdev, an international affairs expert. He joins us live from New Delhi. Rabinder, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. More trade drama here in Washington, this time with Brazil. How might these allegations of political content censorship, Rabinder, pressure the US and Brazil tech to cooperate?
Thank you so much to be with you. I mean, see, at the top level, there is one other distinction in the case of Brazil. The tariffs that Trump is imposing on various countries, the supposed reason is the trade imbalance, right? The US is running a trade deficit, it claims, with many countries, and due to which the tariffs are being set. In this particular case, as you mentioned also, the United States runs a surplus of about $7 billion with Brazil. They export around $50-odd billion and they import around $43-odd billion, so they have a surplus. Now here the issue seems to be what could in trade jargon be specified as maybe non-tariff barriers. That is one, right, to which US is taking exception. But then along with it, there is definitely an underlying sense of political intent or geopolitical positioning with respect to Brazil. Now, the 301 investigation which the US has opened up, I mean, they're going to look into, as you said, treatment of American digital platforms and social media. For example, Brazil's blocking of Twitter. Then there are preferential tariff regimes that favor other countries over the United States exporters, what the US says. Then it will also look into restrictions in electronic payments and digital trade. Also then, of course, intellectual property, ethanol market access is a big one also, anti-corruption enforcement and all. So it's all of these things that this 301 investigation will look into, and I think they have a deadline or something like the end, I think August 18, till when they're inviting, information collecting, and then in September, they will have some hearing, etc. So this is a process which has been set into motion. So we'll see what, the investigations reveal. But given the intent with which they're starting out, the United States, that is, it seems that they will come up with some particular areas in which they will hold Brazil responsible for some violations.
Rabinder, we spoke briefly, but former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro is just one of the far-right leaders that Donald Trump has openly, on his Truth Social, advocated for his trial to be dropped. For viewers that don't know, Bolsonaro has charges against him of conspiring a coup after the 2022 election. How important do you think personal politics for Donald Trump are in this trading situation, a situation where politics shouldn't come into play?
I mean, if you look at the world of today, but what's coming up? It's politics and geography, so geopolitics. Now, with respect to Brazil, yeah, sure, with Trump, personal politics does matter often, but with Brazil, there's one more element. Sure, the personal politics and the chemistry affinity he has with Bolsonaro, who is on the ideological spectrum like Trump, right? Nationalist, populist, etc., versus a Lula. So that's one. Second is, of course, this ideological, gap break. And the third is the United States looks at Brazil or South America as its backyard. So that's where geography comes in, I would say. So what Trump is attempting to push through and try and see is that, all of Latin America, South America, Central America are bereft of any influence of socialist, oblique leftist, and also, by the way, Chinese, influence. Let's put it that way. So the case of Brazil, I think it has all these, elements, personal rapport with Bolsonaro, personal, that one. Second, of course, ideology. I mean, there's a Trump would promote, and his cabinet, if you see J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, wherever they're going, they're talking about, and especially looking in Europe, how they've been talking directly to the nationalist populist parties. And thirdly, geography. In this geography, America is signaling that it will want to dominate. Remember the Panama Canal, which Trump, kind of again, I mean, he ratcheted it up, and yes, Panama has kind of, yes, Panama is now allowing U.S. Navy ships to pass by without paying any charges. And the two Chinese-owned companies, Hutchison Whampoa, which were at both ends of the Panama Canal, they had large facilities. They've been forced into selling out for about $18 odd billion to BlackRock, which happens to be an American company. So America is on an intent and pushing through that countries in this region, especially its own backyard, there should be no dissonance between what America wants and what they do.
Yes. Rabinder Sachdev, thank you very much for your insight. You are staying with us to discuss